enjoyed learning about the post-colonial writers. But before dealing with this post-colonial criticism, let me ask you a very important question. Does anyone know what is post-colonial? Anybody can answer. What do you understand by the term post-colonial? There may be students who might be knowing it, but there may be many more students who might be knowing this term, but they may not be able to explain. And this term, this field is very, very essential for every aspirant to have a proper command over this topic. Good morning, Shraddha, Biplav and Rinki. Good morning all of you. So today I am going to concentrate, you keep on messaging here students, and I will try to concentrate on my topic so that first of all let us have a brief introduction about this post-colonialism. So first of all let's understand the simple words colonized and colonizer. Again I will repeat, first of all we will understand the simple words colonized and colonizer. Students, the Europeans who took charge of every colony, whether small, whether big, are known as colonizers. जैसे हम builders को भी कहते हैं colonizers, colony बनाने वालों को कहते हैं colonizers, and so in the same way I am trying to explain in very simple terms. And the Europeans who took the charge of every colony, whether small or big, are known as colonizers. Yes. For years together, they destroyed the life and culture of a nation or the colony they conquered. And the colonized remains the one who was conquered and taken over by the colonizers, that is, that is Britishers. Yes. So post-colonial, Shraddha, good morning Shraddha, literature written after imperialism. Yes, Shraddha, I want to prepare for first paper. Okay Shraddha, we will do one thing. Any of the students who want to be taken all the guidance from me, this is my WhatsApp number students, and after this session you can call me and you can even WhatsApp me whatever your difficulties, whatever you want to join, whatever course you want to join, you can all discuss with me, you can all have a word with me, I will guide you each and everything. Fine. So post-colonial refers to the period following the decline of colonialism, that is the end of domination by the European Empire. Though we differentiate between both the terms colonialism and post-colonialism, but the distinction is not always made. और हम आपको समझाने की कोशिश करते हैं. If on a literal context, post-colonialism generally refers to a collection of theoretical and critical strategies used to examine the culture. And what to examine the culture? Literature, politics, history, etc., etc. Of where? Of former colonies, of the European empires, and what is the relation, their relation to the rest of the world. And yes, if we define post-colonialism in very, very simple words, what would it be? It refers to the human consequences. It refers to the human consequences resulting from exploitation and control of colonized people on their lands. You can even note down in your copy, students. And post-colonial theory is a body of thought primarily concerned with accounting for the political, for the aesthetic, for the economical, historical and social impact on the European colonial rule around the world in this century, in the 18th through the 20th century too. So very simple terms में आपको मैं समझाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं, इतने simplicity में शायद किताबों में नहीं दिया गया है. And post-colonial literature seeks to describe the interactions between European nations and the peoples they colonized by the middle of the 20th century, the vast majority of the world was under the control of European countries. And at its peak in the late 19th century, according to that book which is known as the Norton Anthology of English Literature, the British Empire consisted of more than a quarter of all the territory on the surface of the earth. And in 4 people was the subject of Queen Victoria. One in 4 people was the subject of Queen Victoria. During the 20th century, countries like India, Nigeria, Sri Lanka, you can even take Jamaica, Canada, Australia, won independence from their European colonizers. And the literature and the art produced in these countries after independence became the subject of post-colonial studies. ये होता है an area of academic concentration. ये वो area था जहां पे academics अपने को concentrate कर रहे थे, initially in the British universities. And this field gained prominence, a lot of prominence in the 1970s and has been developing ever since. तब से लेकर के आज तक ये डेवलप करता ही चला जा रहा है. Fine. Zubin Chandra, Zubin, yes, hello Zubin, and Bhimesh Thota, yes, hello students. Yeah. So as all of you students, you keep on coming and taking the class, you just be in touch with me. So now we will discuss some of the major voices and the works of post-colonial literature. You must have heard the name of, you must have read in your graduation and post-graduation Salman Rushdie's novel Midnight Children, which was published in 1981. These are all, the major voices in the works of post-colonial literature. Salman Rushdie, Midnight Children, then we have Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart, which was published in 1958. Michael Odanji की एक नॉवेल है जिसका नाम है The English Patient, 1992. Then we have Franz Fanon's The Wretched of the Earth, 1961. Then we have Jamaica, A Small Place, which was published around 1988. A very important name, जिसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन भी आ चुका है नेट में, Isabel Allende. Isabel Allende's work, The House of the Spirits. G.M. Coetzee, Waiting for the Barbarians and Disgrace Disgrace is also by G.M. Coetzee, published in 1990. Derek Walcott, Omeros, O-M-E-R-S-O-S, O-M-E-R-O-S, Omeros, 1990. And Yvonne Boland, E-A-V-A-N, Yvonne Boland, B-O-L-A-N-D. उसका नाम है Outside History Selected Poems, 1990 to 1990. So you must remember all these very important works, and suppose if you ever get time, you can even go into the depths of these novels, these novels of these great authors of the post-colonial literature which I have just told you. And from these many novels which I have just told you, many questions have been continuously coming in the examinations too, which you will all get if you get my study material packet of 10 units, right from unit number 1 to unit number 10. And yes, these are all taught in entirety when you are into my online live classes, especially in my UGC net class which is already running. Now, we will move towards post-colonial criticism. What is post-colonial criticism, students? Can anybody tell me? Post-colonial criticism. Post-colonial criticism क्या है, students? It is a type of cultural criticism, usually involving the analysis of literary texts produced in the countries and cultures that have come under the control of the European colonial powers at some point in their history. And it is basically the analysis of the texts written about the colonized places by writers hailing from the colonial culture. Students, I would like to ask you here that do you know that which famous critical theory or which theorists influence the thinkers of the post-colonial criticism? Again, I will repeat the sentence, again repeat the question, that do you know that which famous critical theory or which theorist influenced the thinkers of the post-colonial criticism? No. The major influence of the post-colonial literary criticism was Marxist. That is Marxist thought. And by deconstruction and by the work of Michael Foucault, always remember students one thing, that this is a point to note down. Michael Foucault, who gave theories about the power of discourse and deconstruction, which talks about hierarchical and binary oppositions such as West, such as East, such as center and periphery. Fine, students. So I hope you must be in the class. Be conscious, because this is a very net-centric live classes which I am taking today. Now, there are many key concepts in post-colonialism, key concepts. And to understand this theory, we need to learn the key concepts which are specifically used to understand this theory. And what are these key concepts in post-colonialism? Very important concepts. Can anybody tell me, students, even one concept? If anybody tells me, I will give you a chocolate. I will send you at home. Anyone, students? Biplav, Shraddha, Zubin, Bhimesh, Rinki, anybody who can tell me that, sir, this is one of the concepts of post-colonialism. Any one concept you can tell? There are so many concepts which I am going to take today for you. First is hybridity. Hybridity. What is hybridity? Hybridity, जिसको हम कहते हैं syncretism. Syncretism की spelling है SYNCRETISM. इसका ये दूसरा नाम भी है. इसको कैसे define करेंगे students? It is defined as the state of a person, maybe migrant, who is trying to combine the culture of the country hosting him or her with the culture of her original country without leaving aside any of them. And the negotiation of these two is the main theme in post-colonial diasporic literature. Always remember this thing, that this is one of the major key concepts in post-colonialism, that is hybridity. And in order to understand the diasporic, I will take the second, the key concept, which is known as diaspora. D-I-A-S-P-O-R-A. Diaspora. What is diaspora, students? It refers to persons who have been dispersed or displaced from their homelands, and these persons are not rooted in one location, and they also live in memories of their imagined homelands. मैं इंडिया का हूँ, मैं जाकर के कनाडा में, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में, अमेरिका में जाकर के वहाँ पे रहने लगा. Again, I am trying to tell you in a very simple words, it refers to those persons who have been dispersed or displaced from their homeland. Suppose my homeland is India, and I have been dispersed or displaced from my homeland. And these persons, that is me, for example, are not rooted in one location, and they also live in memories of their imagined homelands. This is known as diaspora. इसीलिए आपने इंग्लिश लिटरेचर में देखा होगा, there is a separate section known as diasporic literature, जिसमें there are very prominent authors like Alexander Jhumpa Lahiri, Alexander, then Lakshmi Prashwad, and so many other writers who are known as diasporic authors. They disperse themselves, they displace themselves from India, but they are writing for India because their imagination is in their homeland. Now, the third concept of post-colonialism Biplav, you have named so many questions, students. So these all are I teach. Sir, एक बार हिंदी में बोल के बता दीजिए colonial. हाँ बेटा. See, students, this is English literature. So, because you have to face everything in English in your entire life, if you are a student of English literature, if you are going to be a part of UGC net qualifying, and if you are going for any interview in your life, always remember that you are an English literature scholar. You cannot answer questions in Hindi. If you answer questions in Hindi, the other professor will take that how will you be teaching in Hindi in the postgraduate colleges, because this subject is English literature. So try to be very much coordinated with literature or English speaking, and I teach in very simple language. My teaching basically connects with you, and you are able actually to memorize even. My students all over India who face the interviews and who are in the live classes, online classes, they say, sir, when I go for the interview, your words basically come into my brain, into my consciousness, and I am able to speak the answers. Because the memories, the quality which you give us is basically deep rooted somewhere in my mind. So that is true, students. That is why listening is very important. So that is why when you are into my class of UGC net or IAS or any other course, once you listen my hours and hours and hours of lectures for so many months, it gets embedded in your mind and brain. And once you have my study material, from there you don't need to make notes, you study it properly. And then both are basically, जैसे कहते हैं ना, दो हाथ से ताली बजती है. So my study material, my test series and my classes, they combine together and make you a very fruitful and very effective scholar of English literature. And whatever you are writing, students here, whatever you are writing, students, you are asking exotic and concept of mimicry and location dislocation theory. These all things you will be taught in my online live classes if you are in my UGC net classes. And remember one thing, that I leave no stone unturned in making you reach to that level of the excellence. So now let me complete this, because post-colonialism or post-colonial, this thing is very, very important, and whatever I am teaching you, concentrate here, because if you miss this lecture, if you don't get into this class with full of your consciousness, you will miss something. So these key concepts में मैंने पहले आपको बताया hybridity, दूसरा मैंने आपको बताया diaspora, तीसरा मैं आपको बताने जा रहा हूँ double consciousness. What is double consciousness? Can anybody tell me? Biplav, send me your address. Send me your address on my WhatsApp number. I will send you a chocolate. Sure. This is thumbs up. I will send you. Space-place theory by Homi Baba. These are all the concepts of post-colonialism. Good. And to some extent, semiotics too is a post-colonial term. Correct. Empire by Michael Hardit and Antonio Negri. Correct. I am waiting for chocolate, sir. Please send me your address. I will send you a chocolate for sure. This is my promise. So students, be connected with me and enjoy these key concepts of post-colonialism. And the third is double consciousness. What is double consciousness? It is defined as divided self. Divided consciousness is defined as divided self. And I'll just give you a name, Du Bois. D-U-B-U-O-I-S. Du Bois. और you can इसको ऐसे कर दे, यू नहीं है, ये इस नाम को नोट कर लीजिए. डिवाइडेड सेल्फ कहते हैं डबल कॉन्शियसनेस को. एंड डू बॉयस described double consciousness as two thoughts, two souls in one dark body. बाद में मीना अलेक्जेंडर, who is a great author of diasporic writer, diasporic literature, बाद में मीना अलेक्जेंडर described double consciousness as many thoughts, many souls in one dark body, explaining the experience of the migrants in many subject positions. So this is known as double consciousness. Fine. Now there is a very important terminology, subaltern. Subaltern. What is subaltern? इसमें सबसे बड़ा नाम आता है स्टूडेंट्स एंटोनियो ग्राम्स्की का. Antonio Gramsci. Antonio Gramsci referred subaltern as the working class persons. It is popularized and used by Gayatri Spivak. बहुत बार क्वेश्चन आता है स्टूडेंट्स. It is popularized and used by Gayatri Spivak in the post-colonial context in his literature. याद करिए वो क्वेश्चन कोट एंड कोट में, कैन द subaltern speak? क्वेश्चन मार्क. एंड गायत्री ये ऐसे है, ये क्वेश्चन मार्क में ये ऐसे, कैन द subaltern speak? So Gayatri in Spivak in this essay writes about the issues about subaltern's voice in the rebellion against the colonizer, and writes whether the subaltern is spoken for or speaks for herself. So I am trying to make you out in very specified, or you can say very filtrated and very precise definitions of these key concepts of post-colonialism, so that you can answer well, you can write well, at least you can face any interviews regarding this thing. Yes, Mumesh, good afternoon, sir. Umesh at Seoul, good afternoon. Jaspal Singh, good afternoon. So now the next subaltern के बाद जो की कॉन्सेप्ट हम आपको बताना चाहते हैं उसका नाम है mimicry. What is mimicry, students? Mimicry shows the relationship between the colonized and the colonizer, and it shows how the colonized subject mimics the colonizer, and this is well seen in how the colonized persons adopt the language, how they adopt the habits, culture, values and the attire of the colonizer. This is mimicry. Fine. Now the next key concept is history. 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 यहां पे एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज मैं बताने जा रहा हूं आपको, द थर्ड वर्ल्ड नेशंस. ध्यान से सुनिएगा स्टूडेंट्स, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ये. द थर्ड वर्ल्ड नेशंस के जो राइटर्स थे आर इंटरेस्टेड इन राइटिंग अबाउट देयर नेटिव हिस्ट्रीज, एंड these native histories basically include the problems. What are the problems they used to face during the colonization? And their writings includes their native identity and case studies of cultural colonization, which include the movements which were anti-colonial, such as Africa aesthetic and negritude. बहुत बार क्वेश्चन आया होगा, आपने देखा होगा, negritude movement. Again I am repeating the same thing. They include movements which were anti-colonial, such as Africa aesthetic and negritude movement, Africanite, which aimed at freeing or liberating themselves at all levels, which include individual level and colonial level in their thinking and in their attitude. And there is also a very famous word associated with post-colonial theory which requires a deep understanding. बहुत deep understanding की जरूरत है, और उस word का नाम क्या है? कृष्णा पांडे. Hello Krishna, how are you? और उस एक बहुत फेमस वर्ड एसोसिएटेड है पोस्ट कोलोनियल थ्योरी से, जिसकी की बहुत डीप अंडरस्टैंडिंग की जरूरत है, और उस वर्ड का नाम है अदर. इट इज सो इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड. अगर हम जनरल टर्म्स की बात करें स्टूडेंट्स, तो अदर इज एनीवन. द अदर इज एनीवन हु इज सेपरेट फ्रॉम वन सेल्फ. And the colonized subject is characterized as other by discourses like cannibalism. The practice of eating the flesh of one's own species is known as cannibalism. And Jacques Lacan has used the term other in his works. कितना इंपॉर्टेंट इस बच्चों समझिएगा कि अगर क्वेश्चन पूछा कि किसने इस टर्म का इस्तेमाल किया है अपने वर्क्स में, so Jacques Lacan has used the term other in his works. And in post-colonial theory, it refers to the colonized others who are marginalized by the imperial discourse. But this otherness is the source of energy and potential change. Fine. I'll try to, give you lot of details about the post-colonial criticism, post-colonial theory, post-colonial literature. If maybe you are some of the students who are here who are already in my class, there are students who are joining me daily from Pan India, and those students who wish to mark a stature in their personal identity, in their personal personality, by getting a great scholarship level, by competing the highest examinations of India like UGC NET, like IAS mains, PCS, DSSSB, first grade, PGT, etc., etc., etc. They must not waste their time, even if they are in MA previous. Always remember that I am teaching NET since 21 years. So my experience level is so high, students, when I teach in the class, whatever I teach in the class, that is in the examination paper, and the students are awe-stricken. Sir, have you made the paper? No, I say no, I have not made the paper. It is just my expertise and experience through which you are getting that level of excellence through my classes. It is a blessing by the technology that now students sitting at all the corners of the country, they can be a part of my regular classes, be a part of the regular classes, be a part of the study material, be a part of the test series, and then see your changes in your mental status. So students, other is one who has been colonized, and us is the colonizer. Edward Said in his work Orientalism. Yes, Biplab, Edward Said has said in this work Orientalism. Correct. Krishna, thank you so much, Krishna, that you have complimented, that you liked the lecture. Thank you so much. And Krishna, are you preparing for UGC NET? Are you preparing for UGC NET, or have you already qualified NET? So students, if you have any questions, you may ask. And yes, in the last, I would say one thing: prepare this lecture once again. This lecture is automatic uploaded in the YouTube, and you can again revise it. You can again see the same lecture many times through the channel. And yes, if you wish to be, you have qualified, Krishna, or you are preparing for it. You have written yes, but I am unable to know that you have qualified NET or you are preparing for NET. So this is www.osnacademy.toprankers.com. So students, www.osnacademy.toprankers.com. This is my own classroom link. So if you wish to be a part of OSN Academy's proper direct classes, Krishna or other students, they may WhatsApp me on the same number, they may call me, and they may take the admission here, osnacademy.toprankers.com. When you click this link, you will get a button known as register. You have to register there, and then you have to get entered into the class, where you are going to start from unit number 1 and come to unit number 10, where the entire world of literature will be taught, and I am teaching there, and all the lectures are per day uploaded automatically. So if you are missing any lecture, there is no missing of any lecture. You can get and you can start, and it is all 24 hours. Whether you are doing job, whether you are studying in your university, no issues. It is anytime, students. So, and yes, one thing more, students, you can just WhatsApp me that, sir, I want to have a lecture on this, I want to study this. So I will collect those things, and I will be at your this thing from time to time as I have been coming. And yes, the history of English literature batch. एक बैच है जिसका नाम है हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर, where a BA Part 1 student or a IAS student, anybody can take the admission there, because there you will be getting the entire Anglo-Saxon period, the postmodern, in proper details according to the authors even. So I will give a pause to my words students here only, so that you may make yourself acquaint with the basics of this theory, and in our next session we would be dealing with some more works, with some more post-colonial criticism, with some test series, with some other things. But yes, if you want to qualify UGC NET, then कभी भी देर नहीं है बेटा. It is never too late to start, because knowledge is power. Make your knowledge level so strong that you have to compete the world. You have to compete the students who are preparing for it, who are qualifying this thing, because ultimately you have to face the interviews to be a lecturer or a professor or a reader or in your entire life. And from the very beginning, अगर आपकी basics अच्छी हैं, तो you will always, you will always gem up like a person shining for the entire world, to portray your knowledge to the coming generations too. Thank you so much, students. God bless you. Meet you tomorrow once again. Thank you.